Hello and welcome to the Rainy Night Listens podcast. I'm Hailey.
And I'm Wyatt, and this is the podcast that you save for a rainy night instead of a rainy day.
Alrighty. Today we are going to be talking about William Rowe's Sasquatch encounter. I would ask you if you'd heard of this one, but I'm going to guess you probably haven't.
I actually know everything there is to know about this one.
That would actually be hilarious.
I'm just like
This is
really not correcting you the whole time.
Yeah,
on, like
this
random
is
stuff.
the one Sasquatch encounter that you have just delved right into.
Like, what are you talking about? I know all about this one.
Alright, I know this guy.
I met him. I am William Rowe.
I met him when I was a wee babe.
When I was a babe.
It is a very well-known encounter that took place in British Columbia in Canada in 1955. The account I am telling you is based off of his signed, written account of what he saw.
I was negative 58, so
That's pretty small.
yeah. But I know him personally.
Oh, yeah, you two are buds.
Yeah, look at him. I know that guy. He looks like Wendigoon. I know you don't know who Wendigoon is, but just know he looks like it. I'm going to show you a picture after this. That's funny. So
That is funny.
I talked to Hailey a lot about creepcast in between the episodes, and sorry, please continue. I will
literally
deviate.
never talked to Wyatt outside of these episodes, ever.
We do not talk to each other.
I don't know him.
I don't know him.
There was a good portion of my life where Wyatt wasn't alive.
That is accurate.
William Rowe grew up in Michigan, where he spent much of his free time exploring the woods. He enjoyed studying the animals that lived there and learning about their habits. Upon reaching adulthood, he moved to northern Alberta in Canada, where he made a living by hunting and trapping. Most of his time was spent in the forest tracking animals and understanding their habits so he could accurately locate them and understand their movements better. During this time, he picked up work as a highway worker, and it was during this period of his life that he had his experience. In October of 1955, William Rowe was working on the highways near a town called Tetewan Cache. One day, when he was off work and looking for something to do, he made his way to Mica Mountain, which is just outside of the town he was in. He knew about an old abandoned mine that he wanted to go hike around, so he set out on his journey and had a pretty uneventful 5-mile hike up to the mine, and he reached the area at around 3 in the afternoon. He stated that he came out of a small patch of brush into a clearing when he noticed movement in the clearing across from him. He stared at the bush and saw what he thought was a grizzly bear about 75 yards away. He had a rifle with him at the time, but he stated that he didn't want to shoot it because he didn't have the means to get it all the way back down the mountain. So he kind of scooted backwards and kind of crept behind like a bush and just sat on a rock with the rifle on his lap, just watching it. And he could see what looked like the top of its head and part of its shoulder kind of moving around behind the bush. Well, it stood up on 2 legs and stepped out from behind the bush. And he realized that right then, it was not actually a grizzly bear that he had been watching the whole time. But before we get into that,
I was ready.
it is time for Hagen's historical word of the day.
Hagen.
Van.
Van. Rhymes with van.
Rhymes with man.
Rhymes with grug.
Like, man, I bet you're wondering what he saw.
Yeah.
That's what he saw.
I'm jealous.
We all are, man. He stated that it began walking across the clearing directly towards him. And as it did, he could see that it stood around 6 feet tall, was almost 3 feet wide and guesstimated that it weighed somewhere around 300 pounds.
Hmm.
The animal was covered from head to toe in dark brown, silver tipped fur. And as it got closer, he could see breasts on its chest, so he believed it was female. He said it didn't have any form of curvature as far as where the waist would be, and instead was straight from its shoulders all the way down to its hips. And it had long, thick arms, and its hands reached almost its knee level as it walked towards him.
Dang.
He stated that its feet were very broad, and that the fronts of its feet were wider than the heel, and that it tapered back to where its heel was.
How good of a look did he get at it? Like, how close did it get to him?
So it started about 75 yards away and was walking directly towards him through the clearing, just walking up to him. So he had a while to
that's fair. I mean,
watch
he
it.
had a good time to get a good look at it. It's hard to imagine he got a good look at its feet. That's all, 'cause
Yeah.
in a clearing, it's a different story. I always imagine tall grass everywhere, so it doesn't really help the argument.
Oh, you're good. He also observed that as it walked, it placed its heel down before placing the front of its foot down with each step. And that the bottom of its feet had grayish brown skin that almost looked like hide.
Hmm.
The animal reached the side of the clearing where he was hiding, and he said it squatted down less than 20 feet away from him and began pulling on branches of the bushes that were right there, and would pull the branches over to its mouth and would strip the leaves off of the branches and sit there and eat them. He said that the lips were very flexible as they were pulling the leaves off of the branch.
I'm kind of like a when I hear flexible lips, I imagine how monkeys have the really weirdly. You've seen monkeys will do facial expressions all the time. That's all I can think of is how their lips kind of move a lot more than people.
That's
lips.
how I imagined it too, as something almost like a chimp or a gorilla.
Yeah.
And the way that its mouth was moving. He also said that its teeth were very white and looked like they were even, so there weren't any canines or anything, that it was just very
flat
teeth. And that the nails on its hands did not look like claws, but instead looked more like humans' fingernails. Its head was higher at the back of its skull than it was at the front, and it had a broad, flat nose. He stated that the chin and lips sat farther forward than its nose did, and that its face was covered in hair except for around its mouth, nose, and ears. And obviously its eyes. The hair over its entire body didn't go longer than about an inch in length, and the hair on its face was shorter than the rest of its body. Its ears were the same as human ears, but its eyes were black and smaller than a person's would be. And it had a very thick and very short neck. In his recounting of this experience, he talks about how he had wondered at this point if there was maybe a movie that was being shot at this location, and maybe this was an actor or an actress who had been made up.
In costume.
Yeah, and was in costume to look like they were a part human, part animal hybrid. But as he kept watching it, he realized that it would have probably been impossible for it to look that realistic if it were created for a movie.
That's right. I mean, what was it? How far back was it when we were talking about costume quality at the time? Was that another?
That was for the Patterson Gimlin film, which...
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I just remember that just sent me back. That's all, is him pointing out the fact that it wouldn't be that high quality at the time.
Yeah.
It just sent me back to that one. It seems to be a common thing, which is fair. I mean, it's probably the first place your mind goes to if you see that walking through the woods.
Yeah. That's the Patterson-Gimlin film was taken in 1967, and this was in 1955. So this
Wow.
actually predates the Patterson-Gimlin film.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh.
But
Wonder why you
it does
never hear
line
about
up
this,
with
guys.
if it looked too real.
Yeah, because they were talking about specifically around that time costumes were getting more realistic looking. That was a full, like, almost, what, over 10 years previous?
Yeah. It would have been 12 years apart,
Yeah,
which is crazy.
that is crazy. I wonder why I've never heard of this one before. Like, what? Why?
Part of it is because with this encounter, there was no other witnesses. There was no evidence. Like, there weren't
It was
footprints. There weren't
purely
anything.
word
So,
by mouth.
yep. So
Okay.
it is strictly based on whether you believe what he says happened or not.
Gotcha.
But it does predate a lot of the other famous sightings and everything. And so,
That is crazy to think about. If it did happen, it's insane that someone saw it 12 years before probably the most popular, like, sighting of Bigfoot.
yeah. No, I agree. It's crazy. As he was talking himself out of it being an actor or actress in costume, he said that he saw the animal suddenly stop moving and then look directly at him through the bush and made eye contact with
Oh my
him.
gosh. Maybe it, like, smelled him or something, like the wind blew her direction and she
Yeah.
smelled him.
Yeah, that's kind of what, I guess, based on like interviews and stuff that he had done afterwards. That's kind of what the general thinking is that the wind must have changed, and so suddenly it could
She caught a whiff
smell
of him.
him. Yeah.
It's just very, because it's like, I don't know, when you think about people doing that, you don't really think that a person would be able to discern things by smell just because of how
Yeah, like suddenly smell
non-wild we
another
are.
human being.
But like, whereas is considered by most accounts nowadays like a wild animal. Animals rely so heavily on smell that it makes
Yeah.
full sense if you're thinking of this like an animal.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
It would be so unsettling.
Yeah, for
Like,
it to just
it's just
pause.
like do and then
Yeah, just whip in like eye contact.
yeah.
It's like, oh.
I would be mortified.
Yeah. Because this thing's much bigger than you. Like, it's not
Yeah.
going to have any. Well, I mean, it will have some, like, natural predators to it. I mean, obviously, like, bears will. If a bear's hungry enough, I'm sure it would, you know. But,
Yeah.
like, very few natural predators, I imagine.
Yeah,
So it's like.
that's fair.
I mean, I don't know. That's interesting.
As it saw him, he claims that a look of amazement crossed its face, and that it was so comical that he actually smiled in the moment because of how insane its face was.
That's crazy.
As it maintained a direct line of sight on him, it slowly, still in a crouched position, backed up 4 steps before fully standing up and then turning and walking back in the direction that it had come from initially.
That's crazy. Once again, it's like I said, I feel like I don't know. It just keeps going in my head when people think of like Bigfoot. They don't. It's been so like I don't know. Like the internet turns it into a cryptid rather than a just an animal.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. People think of cryptids and it's immediate like fear response. But if you think of it like an animal, it put distance between him and it without taking its eyes off of him before it was willing to take its eyes off. Like it's all things that animals would do. Like they always keep their eyes on a target or something they're scared of and put distance while maintaining like field of vision. I don't know. It sounds very animalistic. Like it's if
like
it is fake, it's
fully based
he covered
on, like,
some pretty good bases. Yeah.
Survival instincts and everything.
Yeah.
As it was walking away, it turned back to watch him over its shoulder, but he claims that it didn't look like it was afraid, but rather just looked like it didn't want to be anywhere near him. which is kind of what you were just saying. Like, it
Yeah.
was just like, okay, I don't want to be by this guy.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm a skedaddle,
you're new.
actually.
I'm unsure about this.
Yeah. Watching it walk away, he states the thought occurred to him that if he shot it, he would bring down an animal that would probably be of great interest to scientists. He pulled up his rifle and aimed at it, but when he did, it turned its head back again and looked at him. And when this happened, he lowered his rifle because it looked too human-like, and he believes he would have never been able to forgive himself if he had shot it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but like, in a position where I'd like see one in the woods, even if I had like a gun on me, I don't think I would shoot it. Just because, like,
If it's as
they would be
human-like...
considered endangered,
Yeah.
first of all. And second of all, it's like, just, what would I do with it? Oh, here, nondescript scientist, here's a Bigfoot corpse. I shot it in the woods.
Hello, here is corpse. Hopefully it wasn't human.
Yeah,
or else
hopefully
I'm
this
going
wasn't
to federal prison.
Hopefully this wasn't just manslaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it makes sense.
No, I agree. If it's as human-like as what everyone describes it as being, I don't know how someone could shoot one. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It
You'd
would
have to
just
have,
be
like,
so
that level of-
unsettling.
That level of just not caring that only certain people have.
Yeah. As the animal reached the other side of the clearing, he watched as it tilted its head back and let out a sound that he described as a mixture of a laugh and some form of language. Then it resumed walking straight into the forest.
So very, like, monkey-like, right? Monkeys will do that.
Yeah.
Different types, I'm sure, but I don't know monkey types. Or apes.
William Rowe stood up and walked out into the clearing while looking in the direction of the animal, and he soon saw it again a couple 100 yards away, and he heard it let out the same half-laugh, half-language sound before it continued on and disappeared into the trees. After watching it disappear for a second time, William Rowe began looking around the area because he was interested in what kind of diet this animal could have. He found some scat in a few areas that looked like it was made up mainly of plant material. And he also found an area that almost looked like a bed under a big tree. He states that he does not know if what he saw was a Sasquatch or not, but that the identity of the animal is a complete mystery to him.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And that is the William Rowe Sasquatch encounter.
I'd just say, I mean, if anyone's listening rather than watching, you can't see it, but his daughter did a really good job drawing that picture. Like, when I was listening to you, like, describe the features, she did a pretty good job.
Right? It's interesting because people point out that the fall, because the fall is also when the Patterson-Gimlin film was taken, and people point out that it's interesting that this one also took place in the fall, and that in both of them the animal or the creature appears to be female with like noticeable breasts.
Mm-hmm.
And so people guess that maybe the fall is whenever they're getting ready to either have their babies or they've had their babies already. And so that's why it seems like the female sightings seem to happen more
Around
often in the fall time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. They both were females. Like, huh. I wonder if there's any other, like, sightings that they could cross-reference with that. Or if it's, I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of, it's just kind of hard to tell what's real and what isn't.
Yeah. Well, and especially with this one, like, people either believe it or they don't.
Yeah.
Because there's, which I guess they do that with all Sasquatch sightings and reports.
Yeah, but I feel like it loses credibility when it's only by mouth. that it's been
Yeah.
explained.
Like,
But
there were no other people and no evidence
yeah.
brought back from it. But, yeah, this one is pretty well known within, like, the Sasquatching community. Just because of the sheer amount of detail that he was supposedly able to see
Mm-hmm.
on it. Because extended, like, eyewitness accounts aren't common, especially in, like, the Sasquatching
Yeah, it's
realm.
always short.
And so for him to have had that much time just observing it, like, just acting like it normally would in its habitat,
That's
it's
insane.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It is really crazy that he just was able to observe it every single time. It seems like it saw the person before the person saw it.
Yeah. It's always like they're seeing them as they're going away, or
Yeah, while they're trying to get away from whatever it is that made said noise.
yeah.
It's really cool.
It is interesting too that it was just like walking away, like it didn't sprint away from
Yeah,
him. It wasn't aggressive. It just, like you were saying, was trying to put as much distance between itself and him as possible. So, it's kind of interesting.
It is. This one's really cool. Once again, I'm kind of sad that you don't hear about this one very much because I've never heard reference to it until today. So, but I also get why because of the whole word of mouth being the only point of evidence. But I don't know, real or fake. It's always interesting to hear these things.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, that's all for today's episode. If you're interested in hearing more, feel free to find us on TikTok and Instagram. And we are also on YouTube and Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, and we would appreciate it.
Definitely let us know what you guys think. We're super interested to hear your thoughts on this Sasquatch encounter. And until next time.
Bye.
Bye.